Hello and welcome to Dear 21-Year-Old Me, where we go back to our guest's 21st birthday, reflect on their life, their leadership style, and ask them what they would say to their 21-year-old self. I'm Jeremy Irvine, and today on the show we catch up with Shannon Brown, musician, singer, and conductor. Shannon's had a fascinating career, fantastic career, from his days as a performer with and musical director of internationally renowned the Ten Tenors to working around the world with some of the biggest names in showbiz. But before we meet Shannon, let's go back to the year 2005 to find out what was happening when he was turning 21. It's a year of tragedy in many ways. A series of coordinated bombings targeted London's public transport system, killing 52 people and injuring hundreds. Hurricane Katrina, which struck the Gulf Coast of the United States in August of 2005, is one of the deadliest hurricanes in US history, with the National Hurricane Center reporting at least 1,833 confirmed fatalities directly attributed to the hurricane and subsequent flooding in its official report. Here in Australia, violent clashes and riots occur in Cronulla, a beachside suburb of Sydney, highlighting issues of race and multiculturalism. In other happier news, in New Zealand, the British and Irish Lions rugby tour occurs, turning Wellington, and I was there at the time, into a glorious festival of rugby. It was fantastic. The All Blacks win all three tests. New Zealand goes wild. 26,000 people visit New Zealand for the tour, generating New Zealand $194 million into the economy. And it was a fantastic time to be a rugby fan in New Zealand. YouTube is founded. Let the doom scrolling begin. In sport, the Sydney Swans won their first AFL premiership in 72 years by defeating the West Coast Eagles. We were listening to Ben Lee's song Catch My Disease. Musically in Australia, we're also listening to Coldplay, Green Day, and Mariah Carey were topping the charts. The TV program Australia Unites Reach Out to Asia raises $20 million for the 2004 Asian tsunami relief effort. It's also the first time that Australia's three major commercial TV stations have cooperated to broadcast such an event. And the king of TV in Australia, Graham Kennedy, dies at 71 years of age. And after a 12-year run, Good Morning Australia said goodbye with John Foreman, who our guest Shannon Brown will come to work with, being a key part of that program. We also welcome a musical quiz show called Spicks and Specs and Farewell the Secret Life of Us. What a year it was. And it's in the year 2005 when our guest Shannon Brown turned 21. Welcome, Shannon. It's great to have you along.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So you heard the introduction. We stepped way back, 20 years since you turned 21. What do you remember about that year, and what was your actual birthday like? Because you'd already been doing some interesting stuff by the time you turned 21. And I know that because I have looked on YouTube. Anyway, let's have a chat about you.
Well, I was just trying to think back. I think we were in the USA. Exciting. I was with a group called the Ten Tenors. And we were on a 7-month tour of the USA, and it was really a non-stop tour. I was trying to think back, and I now know that the boys took me out to Coyote Ugly's. Remember that big bar? And we were in Texas, I think. It was my 21st birthday, and what a night. I mean, I can't remember much, but I can tell you right now, it was a good way to start this new age where I was old enough to have a drink.
Well, that's for America. You can't drink till you're 21, can you?
Exactly. So I was finally able to get a nice scooter.
You and I know this. It's your story. I've done the research. But let's rewind. People might recognise the Ten Tenors. Let's go back. We'll have a chat about the night in a minute. But let's rewind, because you're one of my first guests that I think actually needs to kind of go back about 5 or 6 years. Because my 21st wasn't at Coyote Ugly performing with an internationally renowned tenor group. Let me tell you that. And I promised my wife I would not ask you to sing Lily's Eyes with you at the end of the show, but I will say. But let's rewind. You grew up in Wollongong.
Yes.
Let's have a chat about young Shannon before we get into teenage Shannon, and then how Shannon ended up on TV one night.
Well, it's a good story. I think music has always been a part of my life, even when Mum was, introducing some rock, some heavy rock and Australian rock she was a hippie back in those days, and I grew up with some really good, tribal Australian music. But then I remember Mum saying I was in the bath and I was singing, and she said, "Shannon, you've got such a good voice." So, so she
Hi, Mum.
decided to she decided to put me into a choir at the Wollongong Conservatorium of Music, and that was the first sort of instant where I could start singing with other beautiful vocalists, and then got into Wollongong High School Performing Arts, and that's where it all sort of started. And I had the opportunity to get involved with the Talent Development Project, and that was Dr. Mary Lopez was the founder, and it was great because she could see a place for young talented artists to develop their craft. So the Talent Development Project was created, and I was in, and I think that's where I got the opportunity to sing at the school spectacular. And I was 18, singing Nessun Dorma, one of the biggest arias of that we all sort of know from these tenor
Yep.
arias, and it was great. And it was interesting that someone was watching the telly at that time,
Right.
and obviously he was flicking through the channels, and he saw this young 18-year-old singing Nessun Dorma, and he said, "Goodness gracious, someone should give him a job." And his wife said, "Well, why don't you?" Because this guy was the sort of founder of a group called the Ten Tenors.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's where it all started.
So you had a phone call.
I had a phone call after it, and they said, "Look, we'd like to fly you to Brisbane and do a bit of an audition."
Right.
I pretty much sang the same song, and they said,
Right.
"Excellent. Well, we're off to Germany next week. We'd like to sign you up and start the tour."
Wow. So had you finished year 12? Oh, wow. Okay.
I finished year 12, yeah.
And if you hadn't, you were out the door anyway. So,
That's right.
like most people do, not most people, some people do schoolies, some people go on a holiday to Bali, whatever. You're going to Germany with an internationally renowned singing group.
Yep.
How does that
very
work?
lucky.
It's like being drafted to the top of the kind of musical tree very quickly, isn't it?
Well, look, yeah, I mean, they're a fantastic group, and I'd never heard of them before.
Right. I
And
hope
I
you didn't
thought-
say that to the guy. Who was it?
No.
DJ Wenk is the producer, was he? Or
Oh,
who was-
DJ Wentz, Matthew Hickey was one
the
of the
founder.
lead tenors.
Yeah.
The founder, yeah. And look, it was an exciting opportunity, and I had to say yes,
Wow.
'cause
What
it was
did Mum
my
say?
first. Well, she said, "Look, when you love someone, you've got to let them go." So
Oh, that's very
that's
deep.
what happened.
So you jumped on a plane to Brisbane, and
Yep.
you did the audition. What were you feeling when you were walking into the audition to meet these guys? Going, hang on, this is actually a bit of a big deal.
Well, it was a bit daunting because they were all in there sort of rehearsing for this new show.
Right.
And we had a guy called Stephen Baker, who was the music director at the time, and playing the piano. And so I got a little gist, and
Yep.
they took me into the audition room. I had a bit of a sing.
Yep.
And then they introduced me to all the other tenors at the time, and
Right.
it sounded like it was a done gig, ready to go.
Cool. So off handshake and then the contract and
Yep.
bring your passport back to Brisbane next week, Mr. Brown, was
That's it. If you got a passport, that's what they said.
Wow. At
Yeah,
what
so-
age? Let's step back a little bit further. What
Yep.
age did you, notwithstanding the bathroom,
Yes.
singing, but at what age did you realise, oh, hang on, I'm a teenager here? Because even then, you had a big voice and you're a tall guy back in high school.
Yes.
YouTube's a wonderful thing for research, Shannon. I've told you this.
Yep.
Right? But at what age did it kind of click, oh, hang on, without being, I'm sure you're not cocky, but
Yeah.
was there a moment you went, I'm actually good at this?
Well, I don't think it was more. It was. I think I was 6 when I was in the bath.
Right.
When Mum heard me sing. So the next couple of years, I actually really loved singing,
Right.
and I loved performing, and I was very confident in not having to be shy and perform and sing.
Yep.
And it was just another extension of me,
Yep.
being another expression of my feelings and yeah, so I think it was just inevitable that I was going to be a part of music.
Right. And
So,
was it a career that you wanted? I mean, some people want to grow up being doctors. Did you want to be a musician, a conductor? When you got into
well,
the high school, so that would have been a bit
yeah,
of a, uh, I guess, a recognition that you did have that talent. But
yeah, I was very lucky there. But again, yes, conductor. Oh, I've always wanted to be a conductor, and I suppose that was my main goal.
right,
But singing was just another part, and I ended up being quite good at it, and
yep,
they seemed to like my style, so I continued with it, and yeah, it's I still sing, so it's going to be a part of my life regardless, whatever happens.
wonderful. Do you
Yeah,
sing for? Sorry, all these questions that I haven't even asked. I was going to ask. Do you sing for you? Like what? What do you? And I know it's a profession for you, but
yeah,
do you just like to, I mean, I don't break out. Well, I do sometimes to annoy the kids in the car, but do you just find yourself sometimes, in the studio at home going, I'm going to put on
yep,
a track and I'm just going to sing this part or,
yes, I do, and sometimes because I haven't been singing for a while,
right.
but all of a sudden, yeah, if I'm listening to something like Che Manina and from some wonderful Puccini
Yeah.
operas, I just say, "Oh, shit, let's go into the rehearsal room, turn on the backing track, and let's see if I've still got it." And I give it a go. But
That's that's very cool.
but it's those sort of songs that are so emotional and
Yeah.
that I truly have a passion for. And when you have a sing, it's sort of like, oh, it's sort of great release. Yeah. So I still do it every now and then.
Right. Let's fast forward. Day
Sure.
one, jumping on the plane. Hi, my
Yeah.
name's Shannon. All the 10 tenors. Big deal. What was going through your mind? Jumping on the plane at Brisbane International Airport. I'm assuming it's your first time in Germany, potentially at age
It
18,
certainly was. Yep.
right?
18.
Right.
Uh,
Nervous scale, 0 to 100, about 400?
oh, look, I think I was, yes, shivering in the sense that this was a whole new role for me, and they put
Yeah.
me down to swings, so I sort of had to learn
Ah,
multiple, uh, parts, vocal parts,
yeah,
which means I can, if one of the tenors is not well or if they need a break, I'll go on and sort of take their part in the show.
right.
So I was a bit nervous that way, but you know what? As soon as I walked out, all the songs that I've been listening to, whether it be orchestral, whether it be arias, tenor arias, or the Italian folk melodies, that was part of the show. And it was like here I am standing on stage in the middle of all these other wonderful tenors, looking out at a full audience, singing the songs that I've always been listening to. And
Right.
it's like, oh my God, goodness gracious me. This was a pure delight. Yeah.
Did you go on stage every night and just pinch yourself going, "Okay, hang on, 6 weeks ago I was a high school and now I'm performing in, you know,
Uh,
the Opera House
well
in Berlin?"
I was, yeah, I think, I was lucky to have some experience performing on stage,
True.
and, but it wasn't but it overseas, I think being in Germany, that was
Yeah.
the clincher, you know, and, yeah, I'll never forget.
Your appreciation of music comes from your mother.
Yep.
What was it, and there's a bit of obviously what you said, y yeah, ex-hippie to kind of paraphrase what you said before. Hi, Mum. Uh, Better than my mother's taste that started at the Carpenters and probably ended at, yeah, what was his name? The guy
Oh,
that used to play the
Humphrey.
clarinet, doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Oh.
Hello to my late mother. But my point was how much music was around the house? Was it something that your grandparents were doing? Were you coming from a kind of broader musical family, or was it something that your mum and your immediate family just kinda had playing different types of music all the time?
Yeah. Oh, music was always around. I mean, my grandparents loved jazz and big band sort of style,
Right.
and, mum was always playing music. She said, she went to a Led Zeppelin concert when, I was on the belly,
Right.
So from a even before I was born, I could hear the deep, bass works of Led Zeppelin. Very interesting. So it's, it's always been a part. Yeah, so I was very lucky that Mum was that introduced me to a lot of different sort of styles and different artists, and I still listen to them now.
Let's talk about your 21st. You're on the stage. So we're going to fast forward a little bit because there's a lot of your fascinating career in your music and no, it's not there to cover.
Yeah.
We walk into the bar, 21st, most 21sts are at home with the family at the local club or whatever, or in the house. Paint the picture for us. There's the 10 Tenors. Did you ever take over a club? I'm being a smart ass now, by the way, because you probably work out I am a bit.
Well,
did you ever take over a club and go, right, we're just going to kind of do a flash mob singing?
Well, that's exactly what we did actually. Because
that's awesome.
It's true. So we got there, and a lot of the crew were with us as well. So it was a big celebration. And I think they planned something,
right?
Because it was mostly us in the pub.
Yep.
I think they started the karaoke tracks, and one of them was I think it was an Italian song, and all of us got up. Well, at least half of us got up on stage and started singing, and they started bringing out drinks because we just counted down the midnight hour, and I think it was I'll never forget the first time turning 21 in Texas at a Coyote Ugly bar singing Italian folk songs. I mean, how weird is that?
How cool is that?
How cool is that?
What's it like taking over karaoke bar? The karaoke machine, because with people that don't know you, particularly when you're overseas, going, oh, well, a couple of guys rock up with their mates and let's just have a sing. And it's like, oh, hang on. Is that a bit of a... You go.
Well, it's because I usually let everyone else sort of sing and give their part or pick their own song. But then a song is picked for me and I have to get up, and then they're sort of amazed that, oh my goodness, who is this person? But I can't help it, I try and sing it. But it's, I don't put it on like a professional big show. It's sort of a very relaxed sort of performance and try and get everyone involved. But I usually just try and sit back and see how they all try and do it. That's more exciting for me.
You mentioned talent development programs. So for those of us that kind of followed this stuff a little while, it's unique to New South Wales, as I understand, and as is the performing high school framework in New South Wales. So just for context, and I think this is as much about educating my listeners as it is, tell us about how it works, because here in Victoria we don't have, we have School Spectacular, but I don't know if it's as, no disrespect to the state government of Victoria, I don't know if it's as formalised as the performing arts high school kind of track. So just for a minute or two, just explain how it works in New South Wales, because it's a big production, as I'm sure it is in the other states too. So, but just explain how it all works, because it's almost like an elite musician's pathway from the local regional high schools. Is that right into it?
That's correct.
Just explain that for us, because I think that provides really interesting context for the fact that by the time you were doing the 10 Tenors, you weren't some brand new singer that they just picked off the high school in Wollongong. You had been doing this for a while. So
yeah, that's right. Well, I think 1985 was the very first big show that it was called School Spectacular that Mary Lopez put together.
Yep.
And every year since, it's been supported by the government. And I've been a public school ambassador all my life, and it was a fantastic opportunity for a lot of students out in the rural areas of Australia to have the opportunity to go and perform, and probably bring their school in for something like this. And it was a really great experience because it was a big thing. It usually lasts a week. All the schools would head to Sydney, probably get on a big bus and head up and stay probably 2 or 3 nights, because you'd have the tech run on the Tuesday, the full dress rehearsal on the Wednesday, and then a full run with all the cameras, or Channel 9 or ABC, whoever it was, And then Friday was the first show, so it was pretty intense, but it was a great experience, and it was fantastic to see some amazing young talent. And so that was the school spectacular, and then talent development project was a part of that. So
Right.
that was a part of the school. So you know if you're pretty good at singing or dancing or playing an instrument, you could audition for
Right.
this thing called the talent development project. And it was a big deal, you
Right.
know. It was a big deal. And if you got in, goodness gracious, you pretty much there for 12 months. And you might start with 20
Mhm.
that get in. And then over the next 12 months, I think once a month, you'd go up to the Sydney Entertainment Centre and have some consultants from the industry to come in and provide some constructive feedback. So you'd perform
Yep.
and you do all sorts of things, and then there'd be a sort of uh, process where, okay, sorry, you're not the best, but you can audition next week. So from 20, it whittles down
Wow.
to about 5 or 6, and
Highly competitive then. All those kids singing from
yes,
around the state or performing
that's right.
instruments,
Yep,
getting down to that it's almost like the kind of NRL, AFL equivalent
that's
of
right.
the draft almost. Like
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
pretty cutthroat. Was there a lot of pressure then? I mean, and I
Oh,
guess
absolutely.
and were you able to pick your songs? Was it a how
I
did that
could,
all work?
yeah, I could pick the songs, but I remember it every time we were driving up to go and to start the first day of TDP. We're always anxious. We're always, oh my God, fretting because there'd be someone like Ken Lang, AM, who was the uh, manager for Tommy Tico back in the day, one of the
Wow.
greatest, Channel
Yeah.
9 musical directors at the time. And he would be the consultant that everyone hated
Right.
because he'd come up and he'd just be brutal. And it was interesting because I had that experience with him too.
Right.
So I decided to do Close to You, which is probably a pretty bad
Carpenters.
song. But it was me on the
Interesting
piano
choice.
singing.
Anyway, I'm not sure if it goes
Yes.
to your lovely vibrato there, Mr.
Eh,
Brown, but anyway, it's a
well, that's
lovely ballad.
very true. Yep. Burt Bacharach.
Yep.
And I think the Carpenters, you mentioned that.
I did.
Didn't they
Yep.
do something like that?
I did the
Anyway,
Carpenters. Yep.
well, so I finished the song, and then Ken goes, "That was the worst performance I have ever seen. What
Ah,
song? Who chose this song? This was pathetic." And
right.
so usually if it was someone else, they'd start bawling or crying and running out of the room, which everyone was, that was known to do.
Right.
But I sort of took it and I said, "Oh, well, that's true, Ken, but I really think," and I don't know how I did it, but I answered him with a very musical sort of twinge to it, saying,
Right.
the major seven makes, the audience sort of feel connected and all this sort of stuff. But and what was it? Yeah, so I was still in high school then, and
That took a bit of
from
guts, Shannon, to your
well, I
infinite.
know
Or
I don't know
was it more
how I
panic?
did
I'm just gonna have to find some words here now, but
it.
it must have come out
Well,
okay.
well, I think it did, and from that day on, Ken
Right.
Lang and I have been in contact and good friends, and he's ended up being one of my great mentors
Good on you.
for the last 20 years. So yeah, so it's a
And
very
were you
interesting.
able to answer him in a musicality way? Because you'd obviously done like AMEB or the music
Yes,
theatre
yeah,
all the way through
yeah,
and
yeah. Well, from high school, I used to, every Friday
yep.
after school, I'd head to the Wollongong Con and do theory. Oh, it was terrible, especially being on a Friday, but I went.
It served you well, obviously, in front of Ken
It
Lang.
did. It did, yeah, but I think I answered in a very musical sort of way,
Right.
and not in a sort of way that's you know pompous in a way. It was
No,
sort
no.
of just delivering a different perspective,
Yeah.
and I think he respected that in a way that made us, become good friends ever since.
That's fantastic. Was he almost the original Dicko, dare I say, in terms
I
of
think it was.
Australian Idol?
Oh, I'd say, well, when we knew Ken Lang was coming, everyone was, oh my goodness, all screaming. Yeah, no, he was fine.
So you're in the Ten Tenors. We're just going to do a bit of a potted history of Shannon's career.
Yep.
Then you became 18. So how long did you tour with them for a while? Because you did that for a while.
I was with them for about 7 years.
Right. So how did that work? Walk us through a
Yep.
year in the Ten Tenors, because you did this a lot.
Okay.
You end up as musicals, because most people wouldn't understand how this works, and I don't. I'm just a suburban dad, but learn me. How did it work? So you're rocking off to Germany. Great. 7 months?
Well, yeah, it's usually long tours like that. Germany was our hub, I think. That was our first sort of start of introducing the essence of what the Ten Tenors was all about. And Hamburg, Germany was our hub. That was probably one of our biggest links.
Yep.
And from there on, we headed, you name it, all over the US, into Asia, into South Africa.
Wow.
So I had a very, very exciting few years learning. And let's say if we're in the US, it was 7 months, and we'll have 3 big buses, one with the crew, and the tenors would be split up into 2 buses.
Right.
And let's say we rock up in Los Angeles, let's say LA, and we stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel, and then we do 2 shows there, and then we get on the bus and drive through the night, wake up, and we're in a new town. We do a show in this new town, and then we get back on the bus and go to the next town. And sometimes, my best mate called me, and he said, "So where are you?" I said, "I have no idea. I know I'm in the USA, but we just traveled so much, I forget what town and what city and what, it was full on."
Right.
But 7 months, was a killer.
Right. It's almost like a mega marathon, I guess.
It is. Yep.
Is it the 10 of you, or are there a couple of extras in case one of you gets sick?
Yeah, there's a few extras. I think we had about 12 or 13 tenors on board.
Right.
And the band, and then the crew. And so we all stuck together. Yeah.
So how does that work? Is it like the first 10 that go on stage, or is it like does it just depend on, I'm a bit crook tonight, well, you can come on Bob and sing?
We tried to swap it around and try and give one of the tenors at least 2 nights off, because we're talking, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 shows on a Saturday and a matinee on Sunday. So
a lot of singing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Monday was our day off, and usually in Europe, everything's closed on Monday.
Right.
But yeah, it's nonstop. One, a show every night, and you had to be vocally healthy. You had to be fit, and so it was important to at least give 1 or 2 nights off for someone. So yeah, there was a swapping around, but there was the main 10 that would usually go and do all the media and be on stage. But it was important to keep our health in check.
And how did you do that on a tour where, like Mum's not there to do the home cooked meals, and I'm sure you've learned over time. It's my wife, if I was doing that, she'd be like, "What have you eaten?" Hi to my lovely wife, who makes sure that I eat healthily. she will pick me up on this too if I'm too much of a smart ass. But no, in all honesty, I mean, 7 months, wow. So you got to be physically fit, because you're on stage for a couple of hours a night.
Yeah, well, with
under lights, so you're sweating buckets to start with. You're in your
and there's dancing.
Yep,
in the tux. Well, we were lucky. We had a chef. We could have dinner every night with fresh food, and we'd go out and sort that out. The crew would be there probably 9 o'clock, setting up the stage, bumping in all the lights and sort of risers and anything that it was all packed in a big bus that travelled through.
Yep.
So we'd get there about 4, settle in. We'd do a sound check for about an hour till 5. We'll have dinner till 6. Then prep for 7:30 doors, and then 8 o'clock show.
Wow.
And then they'd pack up, get in the bus, and do it all again the next day.
So you would have been an expert in sleeping on the bus.
Oh, I loved it. I really did.
Because you're a tall guy. You're over 6 foot, aren't
Yeah,
you? Like,
yeah.
so how the hell do you sit there? Do you have a
Well, they're
couple of
amazing.
bus seats by yourself? Like,
No, well, they've got beds in them. So we had the front
oh,
little lounge with the kitchen, and then
right,
we've got two beds. We've got beds either side in this middle section, and then there's the back lounge at the back.
right.
So yeah, we all had our own sort of lounge, our bed, and it was cramped. And as the bus was going through the night, you sort of just going to the normal hum
Yeah.
and rumble of what the bus was doing. It was really great.
I've been on a train from one side of Canada to another, and
Oh,
for example, well, it was a couple of trains, but it was about a week and a bit on
yeah.
different trains. And what I remember from thinking I'm never going to get to sleep on the train was it was actually exceptionally soothing once you actually got into the
Yes,
rhythm. Is that the kind of experience that you had being on the bus? Because you,
absolutely.
right,
Yep. Yep. I mean, I found it hard at the start,
right,
but after a full day of running around on stage and singing and
yeah,
sound checking and dancing, you're bloody exhausted.
you
So
just
by the
want to go to
time you're
bed.
on the absolutely, by the time you're on the bus to, switch off for a little bit,
Yeah,
you really need your sleep because you got to do it all again the next day.
and does it
Mm.
become a sense of Groundhog Day?
It is actually.
Right,
It really is. Like you're on stage singing the same thing
right.
and you forget, oh, it's sort of like, oh, haven't we sang that before? Oh, no, oh, shit. It's sort of like deja vu.
Because you sang it the night before,
Yep,
and 2 shows before that.
yep. And you're in the same position on stage, the same lights.
Right.
But the only thing is the audience is different.
Yeah.
And I think that was what really drove us because there would be at least one person that hasn't seen the show before. And if we get them up and, clapping for a standing ovation, we've done our job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I not that I've done anything anywhere near yours, but I did musical theatre multiple 25 years
Oh,
ago. Just part
lovely.
no big deal. But I remember, no, it really wasn't, and a load of Canberra Philharmonic Society, but I remember the guy
Yes.
that I did Les Mis with, this is nearly coming 30 years ago now, and
Yeah.
it was only 2 a week, 2-week shows, sorry,
Yeah.
2-week run in Canberra, uh, and I remember him getting to the stage halfway through, he said, "You've done this for what, an hour? But a lot of these people are coming for the first time, and if they're not, they're coming
Yep.
back to see you, and they're paying for
Exactly.
you to be at the moment." So, like, there was one night where I think the cast just wasn't gelling. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't there were a couple of wouldn't happen with the Ten Tenors, but, like, this is amateur theatre, like,
Well,
there
you
was
never
just
know.
some
Yeah.
miscues, and
Yep.
it was just out of sync a little bit. I got a bit tatty there one night, and I remember him coming in the next day and for notes and just
Yep.
ripping us the cast. A lovely guy. And I remember and he was fair cool, like, this
Yeah.
is his name on the thing out the front, and he said, "Doesn't matter what your day's been like at work," and we all worked for work time, obviously, it's just the
Yeah.
thing we did at night, but people are out there paying to see you. This is a show that
Yes.
people love, that's Les Mis.
Yep.
They know the words, they know when you're meant to be on stage, so you've got to actually put yourself in their shoes and make sure that
Yes.
you're singing to them. I thought, and that was a bit of a kick up the bum for a cast that was pretty good. How do
Yeah.
you make sure in those environments you are being motivated? You're not kind of sitting on stage going, "Here I am singing, I don't know, Rockets and, whatever it is that you guys, whatever it is that you're singing on, I Still Call Australia Home." You're like, "Oh, hang on."
Yep.
Do you ever kind of have to kind of give yourself a bit of a mental kick up the bum, go, "Come on, mate, let's just focus," or
Look, I think for me, the songs were the only thing that got us through. Something
right?
about when you start singing or you're listening and
Yeah,
the environment, the sort of that sort of passion that starts. It doesn't matter how many times we sing it or perform it; it's always going to be something new and fresh. And we did do a similar thing. Uh, I would when I became the MD, I'd come out once a week, take notes,
yep,
change a few things, and I think it was important for everyone to be aware that maybe this note is not hitting a little flat here every night.
yeah.
So we take them over to the piano, we go over it, and we'll be right for the next show. Yeah, so it's important.
How did you become musical director?
Well, as I said, started off with the swing,
Yep,
and then ended up being number 6, tenor number 6, right in the smack in the middle of the stage. And as you were mentioning, because we were singing every night, the same show, the same songs, I wanted to do more.
Right.
I felt like, I just wanted to sink my teeth into something else.
Right.
So we were recording. We had the opportunity to work and record it at Abbey Road when we were in London. And we had... Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Oh. That's cool. Let's just put me Arundel Theatre back in my mind. Sorry, Canberra Theatre. So, we were just going to London and we went to have... Okay.
Well, it was with John Barry. The late great John Barry, who did a lot of the music for James Bond.
Yes,
and he was a cantankerous old fart, but he decided to write some new music, and he decided to give it to us to record and release.
Yep.
And so we had to arrange all of these new songs. So it was, the music director at the time was Dr. Stephen Baker. And it was probably 18 months that I was with him.
Yep.
Every night, arranging, writing the whole new album.
Right.
And I just knew I wanted to be the musical director.
Right.
And he was sort of my huge mentor in helping to write in a way that's perfect for an ensemble of men, especially with their tenor voices, their range. And it became true. Stephen decided to step back and head back to Australia, and I took on MD, and it was the best thing. I just wanted to tick that box, and I finally got it. And yeah, we were very lucky to record at Abbey Road, and we released it at Royal Albert Hall, and it was probably the climax of my time being with the Tenors. So yeah, we were very lucky.
Do you remember the moment that you got told they're literally passing on the baton to you?
Yes. I think we was Matthew Hickey and Stephen Baker and myself in one of the hotel rooms, and we decided, yep, okay, well, it's time to pass on the baton, and I was so excited. And then we came out and told the boys, and they all said, "Yay, bring on, bring on." and remember, I was the youngest of all of them.
Yeah.
So here so
you must have earned their respect, and we'll come to your leadership style in a sec, but that's a big deal. I mean, you weren't like the 30-year veteran doing that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Right now.
I mean, it was just something I wanted to achieve, and I finally did it, and with great support.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of hung around for so long.
So how many years did that take you from going in to being MD?
I think it was the last sort of 3 years, so 4 years working up to be the tenor and doing all that. And I think it was the last 3 years, the last 2 years, especially when we were creating the Here's to the Heroes album that we did for Abbey Road. Yeah.
So
it was good.
You're overseas. Do you get to come home? How does it all work? I mean, it's a big production. Put us the Australian cricket team, for example, used to not have their wives and partners on tour. How does it work? What if you meet something? Like, what's it like in the bubble? Not being disrespectful, but like you're on the bus, you're having a sleep, but how does it all work? And then how do you work through things like, I don't know, Uncle Bob in Queensland's got sick and I've got to go home for the funeral, or walk us through that.
Well, I think the good thing was most of us are young, no real huge responsibilities, and the 7-month tour, and then we would head back usually to Australia for a month,
right?
But I was the only New South Welshman. I was the only one from New South Wales.
Is that because the Ten Tenors were historically based out of
the Conservatorium
in Queensland? Is that right? Yep.
Yeah. So whenever we got back to Australia, I'd stay at home in Wollongong for a week, and then fly back to Brisbane, and we'd start the new show for 3 weeks, and then we take it on tour again. So it was really
full on.
Yeah, I didn't
isn't
spend
it?
much time at home at all.
It was like, "Hi, Mum, here's my clothes for the last 7 months."
That's it. Here's my washing, and
and I'm out the door. And how proud of
Literally.
you was she? And it has been over your career.
Oh, she has. I mean, she's always been there with me, gone to every gig, gone to every rehearsal, gone to, because I was young, she was dropping me off here, dropping me off there.
Yeah, it's a long way from Wollongong to the middle of Sydney too, isn't it?
That's right.
She'd be used to the whatever it is up through the Royal National Park and
yes, yep. No, so it was. I was very lucky to have a good supportive family.
Let's step back and talk about some of the things you've done. And again, the internet's a wonderful place to find interesting places, people, and so you sang the national anthem at the State of Origin for the rugby league.
Yes.
What was that like? And then I want to ask you about something I found and we talked about before we started the show. And I'm going to put these links on the show notes, folks. If you want to see Shannon on a boat, we'll come to that. So what's it like singing in front of the State of Origin? No pressure. And how does it all work? You've got the music and the backing track in the ears, or is it live?
Yes. Yep. So it's all live. There's a sound check, and you've got to have your in-ears, which is because there's a huge delay when you're out in the middle because the arena's huge. So you've got the backing track in your ears, and it's very weird because when you sing, you can sort of hear the delay, and you think, oh my God, what's happening? I'm in this huge arena.
Yeah.
And then it's packed. You've got 80,000 people there waiting for the game to start, and you just hope that you don't stuff up the lyrics. Oh my God!
Because there's no auto cue in front of you, in front of 80,000 people,
right.
is there? There's not the sing-along songs at the Sydney Football Stadium on the big scoreboard. There's you and your ears and a shitload of prayers. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
No, that's right. The camera's right at you. And
so no pressure. How do you deal with that?
Oh, look. I think. I mean, you're nervous before. I try and not sing. I try and not talk to anyone because I'm just trying to get in the mood.
Yeah.
But as soon as you step out there and the track starts, something happens. You just click, you switch, and all of a sudden the confidence comes out, the enjoyment comes out, and you just do your thing.
Has that always been the way you've coped with the pressure of singing on stage from whenever it is, getting into TDP? Is it been you had a pre-show, in inverted commas, routine?
Yes. A lot of the time, I mean, a lot of singers, we doubt ourselves.
Right.
We get so anxious. We think, oh my God, my voice is going to break, or I miss a lyric, or it's a lot of it's psychological,
right?
As a performer, as a singer, but there's ways to beat that, in a sense, to be confident. Yes, look, I've done this before. We can do it, And look, if something happens, that's life. That's what real performing is. There probably will be some sort of technical issue. Who cares? Rock on, the show must go on, And you learn from that.
Right. Is that what you teach your students at the academy now in terms of JMC?
Yes, because their vocal health is the biggest one, and a lot of it is psychological.
Right.
You tell yourself that you can't do it, but really you can. You did it last week. I mean, what's the problem?
And so how do you make sure when you're nervous in front of 80,000 people? Has there been a situation, let's hope there hasn't been, where there has been a tech problem and you lose an ear, or?
Yes, that's happened many times.
Right.
You lose the track in your ears or something like that. But they usually have a backup. There's always a speaker in front of you.
Right.
To hear the track live. But it does happen. I suppose it just comes down to experience and not freaking out and just standing there and singing as best you can.
Let's have a chat about the musical director part of your career and the conducting.
Yeah.
For those that don't understand, okay, so they get the whole let's stand on stage, sing good, bus, that sounds really cool, not too much crap food. What's the musical director, and are you performing on stage with the guys, or what was that? Was it a more off-stage managerial role, creative managerial role?
Well, it's a bit of both. I
Right.
mean, towards the end of my uh, tenure with the group, I was getting very anxious getting on stage.
Ah,
Vocally, I was, pretty stressed,
yeah,
and vocally, I mean, it was just nonstop for so many years. I sort of needed a break in a
yeah,
sense, in retrospect. But I think musical directing helped me sustain the longevity for me, and we were doing both. There's a
right.
when you're on stage, you're still performing,
Yeah,
and I sort of had a better sort of experience because the stress wasn't on my vocals now. It was down to the musicality and the technique and the direction,
yeah.
which I loved doing. So it was a good decision to concentrate on that.
And so how then in that environment do you have a social relationship with your colleagues, but also have to
Yep.
provide leadership and feedback? Because I guess that's one of the reasons I wanted to reach out to you, because you've done
Yeah.
both, and you've
Yeah.
done both from a young age. So how have you built that rapport and respect with people that you're basically with 24/7, 7 days a week for 7
Yeah.
months, which is a lot of time? Like,
Uh,
um, I don't want to be too TMZ, but how the hell do you all get along, and how does that work? And do you change buses? But more importantly, from a leadership perspective, which is, I guess, why we're here, does it come from within? Did you obviously had, your mentors around you? How did
yes.
that work for you mentally as a leader, leading people who are older than you?
Yes. Well, I did think about all those sorts of things, but especially being the youngest out of the group. But
Yeah,
I think I just went with tried to forget about that and just thought of the music,
yeah,
thought of the performance, and I think they they were professionals outright,
yeah.
So it wasn't like I was trying to tell them, "This is you should be breathing here," and
No,
all this sort of crap. They knew what to do. So it was
you're all
trying to
professionals. You're all highly trained guys.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep,
out of the
absolutely.
conservatorium, this is the top tier of performing, I guess, light
Yeah,
opera, I guess, in Australia, really, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
these guys aren't just there for the lols. They are at the top of their game when they come into the Ten
yeah,
Tenors. Is that a fair observation?
absolutely. Yes, they're
Yeah.
well experienced, and I think it's just trying to express the passion in the performance.
Yep.
Yes, there'd be some music theory elements to explain and to try and describe
Yeah.
in certain phrases, but I think we were all on the same page, and I think that was the respect. I gave them a lot of respect because it was they were great performers. They're really great to tour with.
Yep.
So I didn't really need to express much. It was just certain things and offering a different perspective that they thought, yes, okay, yes. So I should, it was a good team effort, really.
So it's not so much critiquing, it's more collaborating. Is that a fair observation?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Okay.
But
You
yeah,
go.
yeah. No, I was going to say, but 7 months, we do get sick of ourselves sometimes. And
So
thank
how does that
goodness
work?
oh God, it could get a bit, I mean,
People get
sometimes
tired.
you do. Yep. And someone might just piss you off for one day, but,
Right.
in a couple of days, you'll be fine. But the
Okay.
good thing was we had 3 buses and especially when I became the MD, it was good for me to tour with the crew because I could get there early and start preparing for the show, and then
Right.
the other boys would arrive later for dinner. So I had some time apart, which was great.
And I guess that gave you that, dare I say, mental time as the MD to go, right, this is what we
Exactly,
need to do, as opposed to you can't be captain coach on the field all the time. I keep using
exactly.
sporting analogies. How do you
Yes,
lead people? So let's fast forward. How do you manage? We were talking before that you've first been overseas, you've come back. How do you manage people to come together as those talented individuals in a, for example, what we're doing, and you can explain to the listeners now what you're doing in Dublin, but How does that
Yeah.
work? Because in the Ten Tenors context, you've grown up with these guys, you knew them, you're all similarly
Yep.
trained from a conservatorium of music at Brisbane or Sydney, for example. Let's talk about some of the work that you do now. You're doing arranging, composing,
Yeah.
conducting. So you walk into a room sight unseen with the group, and we'll use Dublin in a minute.
Yeah.
Walk us through that process, and then how do you get them when you pick up the, the baton, I guess? And
Yeah.
it's like, right, I mean, you've got to have them, dare I say,
Yep.
under your baton, figuratively, literally from the get-go.
Yes.
Let's unpack that and talk about the leadership process that you have to make sure that from the moment you've walked in, maybe it's your reputation, they go, right, this is the person in charge, and I will do as clearly as they say.
Well, I think the best thing for you to understand is to know the music back to front.
Right.
And once you have that under your belt,
Yep.
then there is this sense of confidence. And I suppose when the orchestra knows or realizes that I know that, you know the material that is being used, then there's some respect that is granted.
Right.
And for Dublin, this was very interesting because I was working with a guy called Peter Byrne, who's been touring the Neil Diamond's Hot August Night album for the last 24 years. And he's Irish. So
Right.
he had the opportunity to go and do this show
Yep.
in Dublin with the RTE, which is pretty much the Sydney Symphony Orchestra equivalent of Dublin, of Ireland. And so I have never conducted the show before. Ever. So Peter needed a conductor.
Right.
And he said, I'm bringing my conductor. I've been with him for 3 years and he's done the show 4 times, which we haven't. We sort of made a little white lie to tell them that, we're ready to go. But I spent, it happens. So I spent a good 4 months going over the repertoire and just going it over every night. And so we made the big trip. We headed into the RTE big orchestral rehearsal room. And here I am standing with my baton in front of probably about a 70-piece orchestra.
God.
And
you've come a long way from the suburbs of Wollongong, young man.
That's right.
It's pretty cool stuff.
And I don't know what I did, but something came to me. I said, "Welcome. It's great to be here. Thanks for having Peter and myself. These songs are amazing. Great arrangements, and I think we're going to have a freaking great time."
And you did it in the Irish accent.
Yes.
Good on you.
I think that broke the wall. That broke. I mean, they all sort of
had a bit of a chuckle with you. That went, okay, this Australian guy's not too bad after all.
So I think
that's great.
I think that, I don't know what happened, but it broke the ice, and we had such a great time. I mean, when you're dealing with musicians at that caliber, oh my goodness me, you don't have to do much at all,
right?
Because they just, they sit down, they read it, and they play it with so much passion and enthusiasm. All you're really doing is just providing cues and offering passion and excitement and things like that. And both you and the orchestra grow and work on that throughout the show.
I've seen composers on YouTube over the years provide very direct feedback, I would say, to the orchestra they had under their baton. What's it like? What's your style? Because you don't come across to me as a particularly unaffable guy. I mean, the chats we've had on the phone and email, and you've always been like, yeah, sure, no worries, and very kind of quietly thoughtful, considered guy. Is there a bit of animal Shannon that comes out when, the horns aren't playing the way you want? Or how do you go from, where's the light and shade, I guess, in that environment?
That's a very good point, because you don't want to be a pushover,
Right.
And sometimes, this is interesting because when you're new to an orchestra like that, there's always someone in the orchestra that says, oh, excuse me, bar 56, is that an F sharp or an F natural? And they
Right.
always put you on the spot.
Right.
So that's why you've got to know
You've got to know
your
your
stuff.
detail.
And I'll say, oh, that's an F natural, thanks. Oh, okay. I mean,
pencils come out.
It's an F natural in the score. So
what does it say on the score, idiot? I'm reading the same shit you are. In case you can't say that, Ken, I'm a very blunt person.
So
sorry,
you're right. So there's got to be a way to sort of work together. But look, if they're starting and it's a sloppy opening, I'll stop them and say, look, it says accents here. Everything that's off the beat is accented. Everything that's accented is syncopated. That's what you got to do. So sometimes there's some, strong suggestions and directive, and sometimes they need it.
Right, but
and
you
they
don't.
do.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the kids, do your homework. No, okay. Well, if we could ban the word later, or do I have to in this house? Hello, Gus.
I know.
We'll talk about parenting later. But is that so? But do you go in and do certain orchestras or bands have a reputation of being challenging? I mean, how does it all work? Football teams have a reputation of being challenging. I don't know how it works in the musical world. Tell us.
I think there are some orchestras like for a conductor to conduct ahead of the beat, and that can be challenging sometimes.
Yep. So for those of us who don't, I mean, I did enough AMEB to understand what you mean, but for the layperson who's going, what the hell does that mean? Put that in English for us. So ahead of the beat means.
So if I go 1, that clap would be the 1.
Right.
Instead of 1, 1, 1, it'll be 1, 1, 1 to just behind.
Right.
Which is, it's challenging, and you've got to adapt. But usually they're pretty good if they can see that you know what you're talking about. They'll adapt and work with you, which is the perfect mix, really.
And is it an intellectual challenge for you these days? I mean, you're teaching and you're doing lots of other stuff, and we'll come to that. Because you talked about before when you were performing with the guys on stage with Ten Tenors, that was a challenge you set yourself and you worked toward it and you achieved it, and that's fantastic. What's the ROI for you doing this now? Not the monetary side, but is it an intellectual challenge? Is it still 6-year-old Shannon loving music, or is it a bit of everything?
Well, it is an intellectual challenge for sure. These charts are, pretty much as thick as a Bible. You're talking about trying to take on all the points and all the cues and all the changes. So it does get my brain going, and it is an intense sort of session whenever the rehearsal is or the show is. But if the show or the rehearsal can finish with a success, then you've done a good job.
Okay.
You're doing the right thing, and that's a great feeling. And usually I've never really had any problems. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
You've worked with some of these acclaimed arrangers, and many of the people who are listening to this podcast will know John Foreman, OAM, who's started out probably as young as you did on the Bert Newton show, and what was it called? Good Morning Australia, and Chong Lin, AM, who's been John Farnham's musical director for many, many years, I think. You've also studied conducting from Nicholas Dodd, who, for those who might go, hang on, I've heard that name. Folks, that's the gentleman who orchestrated and conducted all the James Bond soundtracks since 1997. So what have you learned from people like John Foreman and Chong Lim in Australia, and also Nicholas Dodd overseas?
Well, look, there have been 3 huge, amazing influences for me in my life. John Foreman's amazing. He's a genius, really. He's so switched on. He's very smart.
Right.
And I've learned a lot, especially with using click tracks and creating tracks for artists and things like that, and being very pedantic with certain things.
Right.
So I think that was one.
Give us an example. I mean, because John Foreman, people might remember Bert Newton, but also does the conducting on Carols by Candlelight, but a very, very well-respected and well-regarded conductor.
Yes.
So what are those kind of things you've learned from him in terms of some of the specific musical, you're just inferring some of them, but...
Yeah, well, there'd be cues on the score,
Right.
and you'd think you'd just start with the rehearsal and just sing or play these
Yep.
lines, but then he'd stop and say, "Look, that note has an accent there, and please watch the phrasing and the dynamics." And so he'll pull apart and pick every sort of section or every style or every accent that is supposed to be had, and I think that being so pedantic ends up being, a song or an arrangement that's got that extra charisma to it.
And is that I was
Yeah,
gonna so that's a really good answer. Is that because then he's able to almost build the music? There's a
yes,
corollary question I'm about to ask. So is that about building the music in rehearsal the way that you wanna hear it when it's played in
exactly.
performance? And
Yep,
the corollary to that, and I haven't asked it before, is it must mean that you have a very, very good ear. You all the people like you and Foreman
yeah,
and Chong Lim, for example, who, you know, because I can only imagine, you know, having played in the school orchestra or whatever, that
yeah,
you've got to know what each
yes, yeah,
it's the part of the sum of the parts, but understanding the oboe's slightly flat or
yes,
da, da, da.
yep,
Is that right? I mean, you have to be a master of
absolutely.
every instrument and understand, and then put it all together and go a very, very finely tuned ear. How do you tell us
Yep.
about that?
Well, I think it's a perfect example when I think we were recording some string sections, and there was another conductor that was taking over, and then they recorded the session, and then Peter took me into the um, the recording session and said, "Oh, look, we've just recorded this. Can you have a listen?" So I had a listen and said, "Oh shit, the viola's way out of tune," and they had no idea. So
Right.
I think it's so important to be able to pick up all those small little problems that could be in any section of the orchestra.
Yep.
So you've got to be with it. You've got to be pedantic, and sometimes you've got to try and tell people exactly what's written.
Yep.
And by the end of it, it'll end up being an amazing performance.
Let's talk about some of those arrangements. Do you listen? I asked a similar kind of question to a guy called Doug Weller, who was an
Oh yeah,
ABC correspondent, who was, I think, one of my first guests in there. Shout out to Doug because he's a lovely guy. Uh,
yeah,
and I said, "Do you sit down?" He does media training. Doug's done media training
yeah,
with me over the years for my professional roles. And I said to Doug, and went on the early interviews, and the analogy I think will make sense in a tick is, does he sit down and critique the news? And the same kind of thing with Craig Norenberg, who I was shout out to, another lovely guy who I interviewed for the show, former Sky News Australia host and ABC head
yeah,
of sport. And the both answers was, yeah. Like, so when you're listening to a piece of music, I don't know, if you're watching Carols in the Domain or
yep.
Carols by Candlelight, um, do you go, oh, I wouldn't have arranged it like that? Or I know that conductor's done it like that? Or uh, can you listen to a piece of music for enjoyment, or or does conductor and arrange Shannon come out and go, oh, I wouldn't do it like this, or I would do it like that?
Look, it's a huge problem
Right.
because I can't stop. Whatever I listen to, wherever is being performed, I'm always analysing, and it's really hard.
Right.
But if it's done well,
Yeah.
then I can sit back and just be amazed. But there's
Right.
always because I suppose I'm just involved with it all the time. It's
Yeah.
hard to switch off and take back and just try and listen to it without analysing it all. But
Right.
look, that's just one of the problems. But I can't help it really. Yeah. So
What's your favourite piece of music to sing? If I gave you a microphone, you got a microphone now, you got a couple there, but
yeah.
what's your favourite piece of music to sing? And do you sing around the house? Or how does that work with the family these days? Like, what's this life look like for you in Sydney? And do you break out into song, doing whatever you're doing halfway through the day? Or
Well, I think one of my favourite songs that I really loved singing when I was with the group
yeah,
is an arrangement that we did called "We Have All the Time in the World,"
okay,
and it was a slow arrangement that John Barry did. It was in the uh, James Bond, Her Majesty's Secret Service, and that we did a sort of new slow arrangement, and I just love singing that song.
Right.
It's one of my favorites. And then I suppose there was another song, I think, yes, Che Gelina Manina, a lot of Pavarotti, a lot of those
Yep.
wonderful songs that show emotion. Now You're Free is probably another one. That's a Hans Zimmer one that
Yep.
was on The Gladiator. Yeah, they they ev- invoke evoke an amazing feeling when I'm singing it. Something happens. It's funny. Some songs are just songs, and some just affect certain people in a certain way, and you relate to them in a certain way. And it's those two songs that I love. Yeah.
Cool. And have there been others throughout your life that I mean, I think of some of the songs that I look back on and I'd wanted well, in my 50s now, I'm like, "Oh, well, if I had to, put a couple down that I would like to have played." For example,
Yep.
for me, one of these, ah, doesn't
Which
well,
one?
Grateful John Bacchino, who I've had on the show, but, any of the
Oh,
stuff that
yes.
Bacchino's done or David Campbell,
Yep.
and, uh, some of the other stuff we used to sing in the National Boys Choir, but, uh,
Yeah.
John Ritter actually,
Yes.
doesn't matter. Yeah, I will put the show notes in the show.
Or
This
John
is where I've
Rutter.
got yeah,
Yeah.
that and beautiful, flowing. For
Yep.
the Beauty of the Earth, I knew I'd get it. Not the old one, but
Ah,
the
yes. 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 Yes.
and we used to sing that National Boys Choir. It's just this beautiful
Oh,
song. At
wow.
50, the
Yeah.
10-year-old me just a 50-year-old me comes back to that song when I'm wherever I go. It's just gorgeous. And the I'll put the show actually. I'll put the link to the Mormon
Yeah.
Tabernacle Choir, full orchestra, the
Oh,
whole
wow.
150 singers, knocking this out of the park. Actually, beautiful. But my question to you, as opposed to me
Yeah.
talking about me, is: are there songs that you've had from your childhood and you go, "Yeah, I still give that song a bit of a hug"? You've talked about a couple, but are there others that you look back at, you know, at where you are now and go, "Oh, that's been a good song for me"?
Oh, look, yeah, but, I mean, there's a lot of songs from Coldplay. I was a huge, huge fan of
Ah,
Coldplay.
that's
There's
very cool.
it's he's a great songwriter, Chris, and,
Yeah,
the band is still so strong. But there'd be others, anything from Frank Sinatra. I mean, he had a
yeah,
way of performing and turning songs into real hits.
yeah.
Shirley Bassey, she does some amazing
Wow.
things, and, I think all of those sort of artists that have really influenced me and knew how to sing and sing in a way that is just it expresses the the journey and relates to us in a way that makes a real difference. Yeah,
Wonderful. We're gonna start wrapping up in a tick. Are there people that you
sure.
would like to perform with or that you wanted to perform with? So that's a bit of a when you were starting out doing TDP and
Yeah.
beginning your career, did you look at some people and go, "I'd love to perform, arrange, whatever," and have who are some of those people, for example?
Oh well, Pavarotti. I think Luciano Pavarotti. I wish I could sing with him when he was around. He was a
Yeah.
huge influence. Oh, Leonard Bernstein. Oh, I wish I could perform with him. Leonard Bernstein from West Side Story. I mean,
It's
I
amazing,
still got
isn't
a
it?
huge crush on him. He's just an amazing composer, conductor, educator, great personality. So, yeah, I wish could have performed with him. But, yeah, even Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
doing some of his work or Chick Corea, another great jazz pianist. So all of these great artists that I have a huge or even Frank Oh, wouldn't it be great to sing with Frank Sinatra? They were my, you know,
That
my
guy
hopes.
had, he had chutzpah, so that's sure I think, yeah, anyone
That's right.
yeah, like the as we Victorians would say, had the front of Myers, like, forefront of
Yes.
Myers, which is the big windows down here in Swanston
Oh,
Street.
okay.
So, like, just yeah, um, what a wonderful career. Shannon, where to from here for you? Like you've got a lot of Ks on the clock, and that's to your credit, not in a negative sense, but
Yep.
you've got a lot of
Yeah.
Ks. You've done a lot of education. You've got your masters. You've done a lot of traveling around the world. You've probably been
Yep.
to more countries and more cities than most of us will ever dream of getting to. But where to from here for
Yeah.
your musical career?
Well, education, I ended up getting back to education. I love
Great.
helping develop young artists with those that have huge potential. And I love sharing my experience that I've had with other performers and artists, and even the history of music, especially Western music. There's some of my favorite units that I love to lecture. And it's those moments when you introduce a new composer or a new artist that these students have never heard of, and they're amazed. Their thoughts of continuing music has now changed because they've listened to someone else, and I think that's amazing, and that's a really, I suppose it's a good sort of feeling, rewarding sort of feeling when that happens. But I think education is still there. I'll still be involved with music and continuing my work with Peter Byrne and Mark Vincent. And I've been with Mark now almost probably 15, 16 years as his musical director. So I reckon that will continue.
So it's a real mix, isn't it, really? A mix, pardon not intended, but there's a real mix of you're doing a bit of travel, you're doing a bit of teaching, you're doing a bit of conducting, a bit of MDing.
Yep. It's important to sort of be versatile and have your hand in some different pots because, this fickle friend we call the music industry, you need to be wearing different hats, to stay alive.
Cool. Let's wrap it up. Thinking about what we've discussed, and I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for making yourself available. It's been an absolute joy and I haven't managed to convince myself to even ask you to sing with you, and I'm not going to because we're going to butcher Lily's Eyes, but which we won't do because my wife
Lily's Eyes is a great duet.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, it's a great song. Although I still like the Warlow Philip Cross version, although
yes.
Simon Gleason and who did it a couple of years ago? Yeah, Simon Gleason and just about. Anyway, what would 21-year-old Shannon say to the Shannon of today? So you're in Texas with the boys doing the karaoke at Coyote Ugly Bar. What would 21-year-old Shannon say to Shannon in late 2025?
Well, look, never give up and continue working on your talent. Know that it's going to be a hard and rough sort of journey, especially working in the industry, but never give up. And any dreams that you desire can be achievable if you work hard. And, enjoy some great friends and stories along the way.
Love it. And then to finish, what would Shannon of 2025 say to 21-year-old Shannon?
Oh, that's a good. Well, I'd probably say, look, start saving your money because
I love it.
Because that's something that I used on all sorts of things and didn't put it in the saving account. But so
I think most people our age, or I think most people would look back and say, "Where did all that money go?" It's probably the bar. Anyway. Sure, you're like that one. But, so save money. Let's go.
Save money and never give up. I'd say, keep going. Keep going.
That's great.
Follow your dreams.
Love it. And one day you might be sitting on Darling Harbour on a boat. And what was that like? Actually, because I haven't asked that question. I just want to wrap with that and I will put the link to the YouTube video of Shannon singing. Rocking around, was it 2009? How did you get that gig? What was it like? Explain it very quickly, because this is a nice story for you to end with.
Oh, cool.
So I think it's great.
Well, I met Andrew B. Andrew B. was head of Out There Productions, which is a production company, and they got the gig to do these. Is it Circular Quay or whatever it is?
Darling Harbour.
Big Australia Day. Darling Harbour, yes. Darling Harbour opened Australia Day. And I was working with Andrew B. with Talent Development Project at the time, and he was the music director of TDP at the time.
Right.
And he said, "Look, we'd love you to sing the national anthem," and that's what managed to get it happening. And I'll never forget getting on that big boat or big ship, the army ship, and coming in, and it was unbelievable. I
Right.
mean, you saw everything around you. The
Yeah.
sound was amazing. There
Looks
was a
great on
choir
video.
behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and a wonderful young girl that sang the Indigenous language at the start. It was just so powerful and an incredible moment. Singing the
And a
anthem,
nice
and
arrangement, might I say. It wasn't
it's a beautiful arrangement.
it was a
Yeah, it
really
wasn't
nice
the
with a
Tommy Tico version. It was a
no,
John Farnham arrangement, I think. Yeah,
uh,
John Foreman, sorry,
formal
not Farnham.
arrangement. Uh, is it true, and this will test my musical memory, and we're gonna come back to Sydney, that when they sang the national anthem, Julie Andrews sang the national anthem, it was that the arrangement was slightly different in terms of da 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 whatever it was at the Olympics, and that's just
Yes.
been is that right? Right. How did that come about? Just out of was that a
Well,
deliberate thing? Because I
yeah,
remember reading about it in the paper going, "What?" There we go. Bit of musical trivia for
well,
you folks.
Tommy oh, that's right. But Tommy Tico was the original arranger of that, Australian anthem
Right.
version. Tommy Tico was the music director for Channel 9 in those years and an
Yeah.
amazing orchestrator and arranger. And
Yeah.
so I think he was with Channel 9 and he did the arrangement. So Channel 9 have had it all. Well, and he did, it was big fanfare. Da 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 da,
Yeah.
dee dee dee,
Dun,
da
dun, dun,
da
dun,
da da
dun.
da da.
Yeah.
So Channel 9, that's it. They use that all the time.
Right.
And it's very rarely that, you hear another version, but, it's
Right.
still, after 50, 60 years of the arrangement, it's still being used.
Wow. And yet it was a
Mm.
slightly different version for the national anthem, I guess, in the Olympics, from what I can
Yes,
recall.
that
So
was well, there was a bicentenary that, Tommy Tico did another version
yeah.
using all the I think it was 3 verses as well. So there's so many different
Wow.
versions. The Olympics was different again, yeah, so but, and then, of course, the John Foreman arrangement that we used on the big ship, that
Yeah,
was another great arrangement too.
it is.
So,
Yeah, there's a
so many out
slightly
there.
different I think some anyway, well, play it
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm not gonna even try to explain it, but I've always liked listening to no, because 'cause I'm not going to, and I'm not musical enough to get away with trying to explain it to you when you've sung it. And I'm not taking my, grade 3 AMEB from clarinet in about,
You never know, you
1980
might
not
be right.
well, I don't know, but to my ear, it sounded like it was just a anyway, we'll put it in the show notes, folks, and if you like Shannon's,
Oh,
rendition
dear.
of that. Last question, if there was one piece of music you could get up and conduct, what would it be?
It'll be Mahler's Ninth Symphony, I'd say. I know it's a bit out there, or the end of
So
the Mahler Eighth Symphony. It's
right,
called the Symphony of 1,000 because Mahler had about almost, well, 3 1,000 musicians playing it. It's a huge, big organ thing, and it's played at the Opera
right.
House a few times when they were doing Mahler, but that would be one I
Yep,
would like to conduct before I die, if that ever happens. Yes.
right.
Gustav
So
Mahler Symphony, the end of Symphony Number 8. That would be oh my goodness, that would be a great
I will
achievement.
have to track it down on YouTube and put it on YouTube with the show notes. Hey, Shannon, it's been an absolute delight. Thank you so much, and congratulations on a wonderful career. Like, good on you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Good on you. I really mean
Thank you
that
so
quite
much.
sincerely. I mean, it's one thing to be, doing your stuff in I can just imagine that phone call. "Oh, hello, yeah, I
Yeah.
wanna can you come
Yep.
up to Brisbane?" I mean, they're life-changing experiences, and the thing I
I know.
liked about your
Yeah.
career, and like, I love here's the Ten Tenors shows. I've probably got some of the CDs out the back still, and,
Yep.
but one
Yep.
of one of the things I've always been really respectful about and admired about you is, um, like, you've got the stage presence, and obviously your height never hurt anything, but
Yeah.
folks, you watch Shannon on the clip which I'll put in the show notes about particularly the Darling Harbour gig. You
Right.
really own those moments, and I think it's fantastically, you had that desire to become the musical director of the Ten Tenors,
Yeah.
and earn their respect, the guys, and then obviously branch into, I guess, very bad pun coming up, giving yourself another bow to your string, really, to
Yes.
continue your musical career. There you go. I've gone through nearly an hour and a quarter without
Oh,
one
no.
bad joke, so we managed to get to the end. But congratulations on a great career. We look forward to seeing you at the Sydney Opera House one year
Oh, yeah.
doing your best Mahler with 1,000 people. That'll be really interesting.
Fingers crossed. Oh,
Yeah, and
Jeremy, I
and you
can't
and
wait.
John Foreman can go nuts doing all the accents all the way
Yes.
through on what will probably be like a War and Peace Bible. So there you go. But in all honesty,
yeah.
and congratulations on a great career. And thank you so much for joining us on Dear 21 Year Old
Thanks.
Me.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you again.
Well, what an absolute cracking guy Shannon is. Thank you so much, Shannon, for both taking your time to do that chat and your patience over the last few months while I've worked through some health issues. Haven't really allowed me to really focus on the podcast. We recorded that interview back in late 2025, and it's taken me now, mid 2026, to finally catch up with life and sit down and listen properly and do the editing. So thanks so much, Shannon, for that. I really enjoyed Shannon's reflections, his observation on leadership, and of course, hearing about him rocking up to Abbey Road in London to record. How good was that? His determination, his humility, and his commitment to his craft over many, many years. And how good is Shannon Mum? All that driving from Wollongong and Sydney and making sure that he got to where he needed to be. A fantastic interview, and all power to Shannon for what has been a great career, and I hope your career continues, Shannon. I've been listening a lot to ABC Classic lately, rediscovering my roots in all things music, including my days back in the National Boys Choir, which I've mentioned a couple of times. And in many ways, just stopping and listening. And it's reminded me of the deep respect I have for people who create things, musicians, conductors, people like Shannon who can sing and can't he sing, lead and teach. People who work in the creative arts are important, and they have my deepest respect. And as I was listening back to the chat with Shannon before I put it together, as you get a bit older, and I have, and you have a bit more time as I have in the last 6 or 8 months to really reflect on life, I thought, wow, what Shannon has done has been brilliant. I would have loved to have done what he's done, conducting an orchestra, singing as he has all over the world, and then giving back to his artistic and arts community. So well done, Shannon. You can listen to Shannon throughout that interview, and his love for what he does just shines through. So to everyone in the creative arts community, keep doing what you're doing, because it really does matter. Thanks again to Shannon, and thank you to you for listening wherever you are. You can catch up with all the episodes of the show at dear21yearoldme.com. And as always, thanks to Kirst, Kids and the Pooch, and Darcy and the Pro Podcast team up in Sydney for their work behind the scenes. So that's the show. Until next time, may your coffee be strong, your leadership be as free, and your life the musical you want it to be. Go well. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us today. For more episodes and links, visit dear21yearoldme.com. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts.